My husband made me serve drinks at his promotion party while his mistress sat in my seat wearing my jewelry. His boss looked at me with pity. I smiled, kept serving, and waited, because at midnight, everything was going to change. "Promise me something," Dorothy whispered, her voice so thin it barely rose above the hum of the hospice machines. I leaned closer, holding her hand. She had stopped speaking clearly 2 days earlier, but that night her eyes were focused, sharp, urgent. "When the time comes," she said slowly, each word costing her, "let truth matter more than kindness." That was 3 months ago. Tonight, I stood in the service entrance of Riverside Country Club, tying an apron over the gray dress Greg had ordered me to wear, and I finally understood what Dorothy meant. Through the doorway, the party had already started. 50 guests from Cartwright Industries were there to celebrate my husband's promotion to vice president. Champagne, catered food, a head table lit to flatter everyone sitting there. And in the center of it all was Greg, laughing like a man who believed the world had just confirmed his greatness. His arm was around a woman 20 years younger than me, Brittany, his mistress, and around her neck was Dorothy's sapphire necklace, the one Dorothy wore on her 40th anniversary, the one with her maiden name engraved inside the clasp. The necklace Greg stole from her hospital room while I was in the hallway talking to the hospice nurse about her final arrangements. I picked up a tray of champagne glasses and stepped into the room. Nobody looked at me. Why would they? I was just part of the catering staff. Not the wife who had stood beside Greg at a dozen company events. Not the teacher who had spent 15 years helping struggling students fight their way back from failure. Not the woman who had sacrificed 3 years caring for Greg's dying mother while he visited exactly 4 times. No. Tonight I was just the help. Greg had given very specific instructions. Arrive early. Make yourself useful. Do not sit at any table pretending to be someone you're not. So I agreed. But the truth was, Greg didn't know what Dorothy had done before she died. He didn't know she had left me everything in her will. $2 million. The family home. Every piece of jewelry Brittany was wearing like it belonged to her. He didn't know that Sarah, William Cartwright's daughter, had once been my student. 6 years ago, I had changed her life, and he definitely did not know that at midnight, William Cartwright was going to stand up, raise his glass, and destroy everything Greg had built on lies. So I moved between tables, offering champagne, clearing plates, disappearing into the edges of the room as if that was all I had ever been. Dorothy's voice stayed with me like a second heartbeat. Let truth matter more than kindness. Midnight was 2 hours away. I could wait 2 more hours. I had already waited 3 years. The day had started the way every day had started for the past 8 months. With my phone buzzing at 5:30 a.m. Not an alarm. Text messages from Greg. 17 of them this time, all sent between midnight and 3 a.m. while I slept in the guest bedroom down the hall. Gray dress, not the blue one. Arrive by 5:30. I need help with setup. Bring the good napkins from the linen closet. Don't mention you're a teacher, unless someone asks directly. Nobody cares about high school English. I sat up in the narrow twin bed that had become my entire world and read every message one by one. Instructions. Always instructions. What to wear, how to act, what to say, when to leave, where to stand. Greg said I had moved into the guest bedroom temporarily because his important work calls were disturbing my sleep. That was 8 months ago. The calls had not stopped. I just was never invited back. The guest bedroom contained exactly 3 pieces of furniture. A twin bed, a small dresser, Dorothy's old desk. That desk was the only thing Greg let me keep after the funeral. Everything else from Dorothy's house. 40 years of memories, furniture, photos, keepsakes, all of it went into storage or got donated in a single weekend. We don't need her old junk cluttering our space, Greg had said while carrying boxes to his car. I fought for the desk, actually fought. One of the few times I had pushed back in recent years. It was where I graded papers, where I built lesson plans, where I sat at night and remembered that I existed somewhere beyond Greg's demands. That morning, a stack of essays waited under the lamp. I switched it on and started marking pages while dawn slowly crept through the window. 17 texts from my husband. Not one asking how I slept. By 7 a.m., I was driving 40 minutes out of town to meet Patricia Hendricks at Miller's Diner, the kind of place Greg would never imagine me going. Too plain, too ordinary, too free of performance. We had been meeting there once a month since Dorothy's funeral. Patricia was already in our usual booth when I walked in. Silver hair, calm hands, a leather folder on the table between us. She had handled Dorothy's legal affairs for 30 years, and she carried that kind of composure that made even disaster sound manageable. The portfolio gained another 100,000, she said, sliding papers toward me. You're at 1.3 million in investments now. I stared at the numbers. They still felt unreal. The house appraisal came back at 465,000, she continued. And the antique collection was professionally assessed last week. I looked up at her. 2 million, I said softly. 2 million, Patricia repeated. Dorothy left you 2 million, and Greg has no idea. She knew what he was, Patricia said after a moment. And really, that was the truth of it. Dorothy had seen Greg clearly long before I did. She had watched him treat me like hired help for 3 years while I bathed her, fed her, read to her every night, and sat awake when pain made sleep impossible. You know how many times Greg visited his own mother during those final years? Patricia asked. 4, I said. I had counted. Every visit followed the same script. Greg would stand in Dorothy's doorway, uncomfortable, glancing at his watch. He would ask whether she had updated her will, ask if everything was in order, ask about money. He never asked how she felt, never stayed more than 20 minutes, never sat long enough to hear her breathe through the pain. After he left, Dorothy would reach for my hand without speaking. She understood. She always understood. Greg received exactly what was in her original will from 1997, Patricia said. $25,000 and his father's watch collection. Everything else goes to you. It has been yours legally since 3 days after her death. I thought about Brittany at the head table, about the sapphire necklace, the diamond earrings Dorothy's grandmother brought from Ireland in 1923, the pearl bracelet Dorothy wore to church every Sunday for 43 years. Greg had taken them from Dorothy's hospital room during her final week. I had seen him come out with his pockets hanging heavier than when he went in. I had known. Even then, I had known. You documented the theft, Patricia reminded me quietly. We have photographs of the jewelry box before and after. We can press charges. Not yet, I said. It was the same answer I had given for 3 months. Dorothy had asked me to choose my own timing. Patricia smiled just a little. She chose well. By 8:15 a.m., I was unlocking my classroom at Lincoln High while the building still held that early morning silence schools only have before the halls fill with noise. I started the coffee maker I kept for students who showed up without breakfast, which happened more often than anyone wanted to admit. A handmade card sat on my desk, where Marcus had left it the day before. Inside was a note from his mother. Thank you for helping my son read his first complete novel at 16. The doctor said he would never read above 5th grade level. You proved them wrong. I folded the card carefully and slipped it into my drawer with the others. 3 dozen notes, maybe more, saved like evidence that my life meant something, even when Greg spent years trying to convince me it didn't. During planning period, Mrs. Chin stopped by my doorway wearing the expression she always wore when she was about to bring up the literacy coordinator position again. Rachel, she said, it's been open for 6 weeks. You're the only person qualified. 12,000 more a year. Greg thinks I'm taking on too much already, I answered automatically. The words came out of my mouth before I could stop them. Mrs. Chin's shoulders dropped. She did not argue. She just nodded once and left, disappointed in a way that made me feel smaller. At lunch, Jennifer mentioned she had seen Greg at Riverside Country Club the week before with a young woman wearing beautiful jewelry. I smiled and changed the subject. I had known about Brittany for 14 months. First, it was a hotel receipt left in Greg's car. Then the credit card statements. Expensive dinners always charged for 2. Then the text messages. Getting bolder and more careless. I photographed everything. Every receipt. Every lie. Every message. Patricia said the file would be devastating in divorce proceedings. By 4 p.m., I was standing in the bedroom I no longer slept in, staring at the gray dress Greg had laid out on the bed with military neatness. Beside it was a note. Minimal makeup. You're there to support, not compete. Support, not compete. I looked at myself in the mirror. 42 years old. Dark circles from 3 years of caregiving. Hair pulled back in the same ponytail I had worn ever since Greg told me women my age looked desperate when they tried too hard. The woman in the mirror looked exhausted. More than that, she looked erased. My students would not have recognized her. On Greg's desk, I found the bill for the party. Riverside Country Club. $8,500. Charged to the credit card he had forbidden me to use. Funded, of course, by my teaching salary deposited into the joint account he controlled. And that was the part that almost made me laugh. Because while Greg was staging a celebration with money he treated as his, Dorothy had already handed me the future. The house. The investments. The heirlooms. The power to leave. Her gift was not just money. It was time. It was patience. It was proof. So, I put on the shapeless gray dress, used minimal makeup, and drove to Riverside in my 11-year-old Honda, while Greg took his leased BMW. In my purse was a small photograph of Dorothy from hospice, taken the day she made me promise. Now, moving through the party with a tray of champagne, I could feel that photograph against my hip like something sacred. A woman at table 6 asked for more champagne without bothering to look at my face. I poured and moved on. At the head table, Brittany laughed at something one of the executives said, touching Dorothy's sapphire necklace with absent ownership. Greg caught my eye across the room and nodded once. Approval. Approval that I was following instructions. Approval that I was staying in my place. I nodded back. He thought he had won. He thought he had successfully turned me into exactly what he needed me to be. Invisible. Useful. Controlled. But the truth was, invisibility had given me something he never anticipated. Time, documentation, clarity, and allies. William Cartwright sat 3 seats from Greg, watching the room with the quiet awareness of a man who missed nothing. His wife Margaret moved near the back, speaking with event staff. They both knew who I was. They both knew what was coming at midnight. I kept moving, clearing glasses, replacing napkins, refilling champagne, the perfect servant. 1 hour and 45 minutes until midnight. I could wait. At exactly 5:30 p.m., back when the evening was just beginning, I had stood in the service entrance adjusting the apron over Dorothy's gray dress, while guests streamed in through the main lobby. Brittany was greeting them there in emerald green, smiling like she had every right to stand at the center of another woman's life. Her dress probably cost what I made in a month. Her hair fell in polished waves that were designed to look effortless. Around her throat, Dorothy's sapphire necklace flashed under the evening lights. "Can I help you?" I turned and found a woman in her 50s holding a clipboard. Kind eyes. Professional posture. Event coordinator. "I'm Rachel Morrison," I said. "Greg Morrison's wife. I'm here to help with service tonight." Something changed in her face. Surprise first, then concern. Then the quick, controlled mask people put on when they realize they have just stumbled into someone else's humiliation. Her gaze moved from my face to the apron, then past me toward the front entrance where Brittany was laughing with arriving guests. The comparison was obvious. The tired woman in the service corridor. The glamorous younger woman at the front door. "Mrs. Morrison," she said carefully. "I'm Susan Chin, the event coordinator. I wasn't aware you'd be helping with service. Would you prefer to join the guests? I'm sure we can find you a seat." Greg asked me to help, I said, keeping my voice pleasant. "I want to support his evening." Susan studied me for one more beat, clearly deciding whether to interfere, whether to insist, whether to do the decent thing and refuse to let the wife of the guest of honor carry drinks past her husband's mistress. She didn't push. "Of course," she said at last. "Champagne service is starting now." She handed me a tray, and I walked into the room. 50 people filled it. Executives, department heads. A few clients I recognized from other company functions. I had been to a dozen events in that exact room over the years, always standing beside Greg, always introduced as his wife, the teacher, in a tone that made my profession sound like a sweet little hobby instead of the spine of my life. Now I moved through the same crowd carrying glasses. Nobody really saw me. Tom Henderson from accounting took a glass without glancing at my face. I had spent an entire evening last year talking to his wife about her mother's dementia. Patricia Walsh from marketing accepted champagne and turned straight back to her conversation. She had once asked me for advice about her son's reading struggles. Invisible. Exactly as Greg intended. Then I saw the jewelry clearly. The sapphire necklace first. Deep blue and bright under the light. Dorothy had worn it on her 40th anniversary. I had seen the photographs. Dorothy and James dancing. Her smile warm and certain. The necklace shining against her navy dress. Then the diamond earrings. Dorothy's grandmother brought them from Ireland in 1923, sewn into the hem of her coat because it was safer than shipping them. Then, the pearl bracelet. Dorothy wore it every Sunday to church for 43 years. Every single Sunday. In those final months, I drove her to St. Michael's and watched her struggle to fasten that bracelet with shaking hands. Once I told her she could leave it at home. She looked at me and said, "Rituals matter when everything else is falling apart." And now those same pearls circled the wrist of a woman who knew nothing about any of that. Could we get some of those canapes? Brittany's voice cut through my thoughts. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking past me, gesturing toward my tray like I was an appliance. "Of course," I said. "I'll bring some right over." 3 minutes later, I returned with mushroom tartlets arranged in neat circles. Brittany took one without raising her eyes. The woman beside her admired the sapphire necklace. "These are family heirlooms," Brittany said, touching the stone. "Greg's grandmother's collection. He said they should go to someone who appreciates beautiful things." The woman made a soft, approving sound. "You're so lucky." "I know," Brittany said with a bright little laugh. "Greg has incredible taste." I moved away before my hands could shake hard enough for anyone to notice. In the kitchen, I set down the tray and pressed my palms flat against a stainless steel counter until I could breathe again. I thought about the photographs on my phone. Dorothy wearing each piece. Dated. Backed up. Catalogued. I thought about the insurance documents Patricia had shown me. Every item listed with serial numbers, appraisals, provenance. I thought about the repair receipt for the pearl bracelet clasp dated April 15th, signed by me after it broke during one of Dorothy's physical therapy appointments. I thought about Greg asking to be alone with his mother during that final week in hospice. I had stepped out to speak with the nurse about medication schedules. 20 minutes later, he came out with his pockets hanging heavier than when he went in. I had known. I just had not moved yet. More champagne at table 8. Susan appeared beside me, her voice gentle. She saw something in my face because she added, "Are you sure you want to continue? I can have one of the regular staff take over." "I'm fine," I said, picking up a fresh tray. "Thank you." Back in the main room, Greg stood near the bar with a group of executives, one hand resting on Brittany's shoulder in a gesture that was brief, proprietary, and meant to be seen. His eyes found mine across the room. Another nod. Another sign of approval. I nodded back and moved toward table 8. Rachel Morrison. The voice behind me was warm, polished, unmistakably familiar in that way. Certain people feel familiar even before you know why. I turned and found an elegant woman in her 60s. Silver hair, black dress, the kind of quiet wealth that never needs to announce itself. "Yes?" I said. "Margaret Cartwright," she replied, touching my arm lightly. "You taught our Sarah. You changed her life." For a second, the room tilted. Margaret Cartwright, the CEO's wife. "I remember Sarah," I said. "She was a wonderful student. She struggled until she met you," Margaret said, and there was something in her eyes deeper than politeness. "You identified her dyslexia in 10th grade, tutored her for 2 years, helped her apply to architecture school." A man stepped beside her then, tall, gray-haired, a presence that shifted the energy around him without effort. "William Cartwright. You're the teacher who stayed every Tuesday and Thursday after school with our daughter for 2 years, he said. "It was my job?" I answered quietly. "No," William said. "Your job was teaching class. What you did for Sarah was something else." His words hit harder than I expected. "We've been trying to find you for years," he continued. "Sarah is an architect now. She credits you with her entire career." Margaret's gaze moved from my face to the apron, then across the room to Greg and Brittany at the head table. I saw understanding settle over her expression in real time, The kind of understanding women sometimes pass between each other without needing to explain a single thing. "Does Greg know you're serving tonight?" she asked. "He asked me to help," I said with a steady smile. I wanted to support his success. Something passed between William and Margaret. A glance. A whole conversation compressed into half a second. "We're glad you're here," William said. Then they moved away, but for the next hour I could feel their attention following me through the room. Watching. Noting. Understanding more than I had expected them to see. At 8:45 p.m., the room quieted as Greg stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began in the warm, confident tone he used whenever he wanted to sound visionary. I stood near the kitchen doorway with an empty tray in my hands and listened. "When I joined Cartwright Industries 8 years ago," Greg said, "I knew I wanted to make a difference beyond just the bottom line. I wanted to build programs that gave back to the community, programs that showed we care about more than profits." My programs. He was talking about my programs. The literacy initiative I built during volunteer work. The partnerships with local schools I had developed across 15 years of teaching. The family support workshops I created and ran on Saturdays for 2 years. "Our community outreach efforts have transformed how people see this company," Greg said. "We've partnered with 12 local schools, provided resources for 73 families, created pathways for students who might otherwise fall through the cracks. Every number came from my grant applications. Every success story came from families I had worked with myself. These partnerships didn't happen overnight," he continued. "They required vision, dedication, and genuine commitment." Brittany sat glowing at the head table, touching Dorothy's sapphire necklace as if reflected glory could make theft look natural. Several executives glanced toward me. Quick looks, carefully hidden. Maybe they knew. Maybe they were starting to understand that the woman standing by the kitchen door with an empty tray had created every achievement their vice president of communications was now claiming as his own. "I want to thank everyone who supported this journey," Greg finished. "Your faith in me means everything." Applause filled the room. Warm, enthusiastic, earnest, deserved by someone. Just not by him. I set down my tray and walked to the bathroom on legs that felt disconnected from my body. In the mirror, I saw exactly what I expected to see. The invisible woman. The erased wife. The teacher whose impact mattered so little her own husband could steal her work and receive applause for it. I gripped the sink and finally let myself feel it. The full weight of being erased in public. The humiliation of standing in a room full of people and being unseen in every way that mattered. Then Dorothy's voice came back to me. "Let truth matter more than kindness." I straightened, smoothed the gray dress, checked my reflection one more time, and walked back into the room carrying the one thing Greg had never managed to strip from me: dignity. By then, the party had shifted. Louder voices, looser laughter, more drinks, lowered inhibitions. I picked up a water pitcher and moved between tables, filling glasses that did not need filling, staying useful, staying quiet, staying where I was expected to stay. That was when I heard Brittany. "I honestly don't understand why people waste years in jobs that barely pay rent," she said. I was 2 tables away with my back turned, but her voice carried. Bright, careless, champagne softened, teaching, nursing, social work, she continued. "It's almost selfish when you think about it, choosing low-impact careers that don't contribute to real economic growth." I turned slowly. She sat at the head table with 3 younger executives leaning toward her as if she were saying something brilliant instead of something cruel. Her fingers touched Dorothy's diamond earrings the way people touch jewelry they have worn so long they stop feeling its weight. One of the men laughed. "My sister teaches elementary school, makes $38,000 a year and complains constantly." "Exactly," Brittany said. "Greg always says people who complain about teacher pay chose the wrong profession. If they wanted respect, they should have pursued careers that actually require strategic thinking." Strategic thinking. My hand trembled. Only slightly. Just enough that as I poured water into the nearest glass, a single drop landed on the white tablecloth. Brittany glanced up. For one brief second, our eyes met. Something flickered across her face. Not recognition. She still did not know who I was, but maybe uncertainty. Maybe the first small warning that her words had landed somewhere they should not have. Then, she looked away. I moved to the next table with the picture still in my hands. I thought about the 37 thank you notes in my desk drawer. Parents whose children learned to read because I stayed late on Tuesdays. Families who cried when kids everyone had written off passed standardized tests. Marcus's mother whispering through tears that I had given her son back his future. The master's degree in special education I finished online at 2 a.m., while Dorothy slept restlessly in the next room and Greg slept soundly in ours. The certification programs I paid for myself because Greg said professional development was a waste of money on a dead-end career, low-impact career, strategic thinking. But the truth was, Dorothy had understood something Brittany never would. Impact is not measured by salary. Service does not become meaningless because the market values it poorly. Dorothy knew that so deeply she had left everything to a teacher and almost nothing to her own son. Rachel. I turned and found Margaret Cartwright standing near the hallway by the kitchen, waiting for me. Not asking, waiting. I set down the pitcher and followed her toward a quiet corner near coat check, away from the noise and laughter and all the people pretending not to notice what was unfolding around them. Her face held something I knew well from years of teaching parents through impossible moments. Protective anger. Patricia Hendricks is one of my closest friends, Margaret said without introduction. The words hit hard. Dorothy's attorney, the woman I had been meeting every month at a diner 40 minutes away. She handles William's personal legal matters too, Margaret continued. A while ago, she mentioned a case that troubled her deeply. A woman who cared for her dying mother-in-law while the son neglected his own mother. A woman who inherited everything because the mother saw her son clearly before she died. I could barely breathe. Patricia never used names, Margaret said. But I've known about Greg's affair for 6 weeks. I saw him myself at Crusoe's downtown. Very public, very comfortable. After that, I asked Patricia to look into his background. The hallway suddenly felt narrower. William's company does routine background checks, she said. But somehow Greg's credentials were never verified thoroughly when he was hired 8 years ago. So I asked Patricia to dig. She paused. His MBA was never completed. He enrolled at Kellogg in 2015. Dropped out after 1 semester. No degree was ever awarded. I already knew that. Patricia had shown me weeks before, but hearing someone else say it out loud made the lie feel larger, uglier, more solid. And the community outreach work he has been presenting as his own, Margaret went on, matches almost word for word the grant applications filed at Riverside Literacy Center by Rachel Morrison. The room seemed to expand and contract at the same time. Too much truth pressing in too fast. William is speaking at midnight, Margaret said, her voice gentler now. Whatever happens tonight, I want you to know something. Some people do see truth, even when others choose blindness. She squeezed my arm. Dorothy made sure you would have resources. Let other people help you use them. Then she stepped away and returned to the party. I stood there alone, trying to steady myself. Patricia had not only been protecting me, she had been building a network. Dorothy had not only left me money, she had left me connections, protection, positioning, a path out. When I returned to the service area, Greg was waiting. You're doing great, he said. I turned. His face was flushed with alcohol and success. His tie loosened. His expression smug with that familiar brand of condescending approval he always gave when I performed exactly as required. Really great, he repeated. Brittany mentioned you spilled water at table 6 though. Try to be more careful. These people matter for my career. And suddenly I really looked at him. The man I had tutored through college English because he could not handle complex Victorian prose. The man who proposed after I helped him pass final exams. The man who needed my steadiness when his ambitions outran his ability. The man who had slowly, methodically turned me from partner into servant because his borrowed success required someone else to diminish. I could have told him everything right there. About Dorothy's will. About the $2 million in my name. About the house he thought would always belong to him. About Patricia's investigation. About William knowing. About the fact that in less than an hour, the entire architecture of his life was about to come down in public. The old version of me would have stayed silent because silence felt safer than conflict. But there are different kinds of silence. Some are surrender. Some are strategy. I'll be more careful, I said. I held his gaze. Something in my tone made him hesitate. A flicker of uncertainty crossed his face before his confidence snapped back into place. "Good," he said. "We're almost done here. Just get through the next hour." Then he walked away. I stood alone in the corridor and understood something with perfect clarity. The next hour was not something I had to survive. It was something he had no idea was about to end him. I removed the apron, smoothed Dorothy's gray dress, checked my reflection in the little mirror by the service entrance. The woman looking back at me was not invisible anymore. I stepped into the room, just as guests began shifting toward the front, sensing that the night was building toward something. A young woman approached me near the bar. Mid-20s. Elegant in that practical way architects often are. Warmth in her face, intelligence in her eyes. "Mrs. Morrison?" she asked. "I'm Sarah Cartwright. You probably don't remember me, but I do," I said immediately. And just like that, relief lit up her entire face. "I had dyslexia," she said quickly, as if she still needed to explain herself. "I couldn't read aloud. I spent most of 10th grade thinking I was stupid." "You graduated with honors," I told her. "You got into 3 architecture programs," her smile widened, "because of you. You figured out what was wrong. You tutored me for 2 years. You helped me apply when the guidance counselor said I shouldn't bother." Then she glanced toward Greg and Brittany at the head table. Toward the jewelry. Toward the arrangement of this whole degrading spectacle. "My parents told me about tonight," she said quietly. "About you serving. About her sitting there. I wanted you to know that some students remember who saved them." My throat tightened so fast I could not trust myself to answer. "My dad asked me to be here for his toast," Sarah said. "He said it was important. He said I'd understand why." She squeezed my hand once. "I think you will too." Then she moved away to stand near her parents at the front of the room. I looked at the clock on the wall. 11:55 p.m. 5 minutes. Across the room, William Cartwright stood and lifted his glass. And 50 conversations died in the same instant.